Hey coaches, for this video I want to talk to you about our new warm-ups. A couple key things. Before I even get into it, I just want to talk through each one of the moves and help you guys kind of understand exactly what it is that we're shooting for on all these moves. So again, obviously in that cardio component, it's just about getting the heart rate up. And I think we already know that. You just start with kind of jogging in place. We bring it to butt kickers, which obviously has the emphasis on the hamstring. And then you bring it up to the high knees, which obviously puts the emphasis on the quads and hip flexors. With each round, ideally the heart rate should continue to climb, and then we end with that stationary sprint, which really the emphasis on that one is the total body, because the arms have really been added in, and the heart rate should climb just a little bit more, and you're going to do that for a minute. So it's like 20 seconds of kind of jogging in place, 20 seconds of butt kickers, that 20-ish seconds of high knees, and then real quick into those sprints, get you kind of right in that 60 to 70 second mark. For the stretches, and really, when you think about this, guys, or just as coaches, we want to be thinking this, it's really more movement preparation than it is stretches. We're not trying to hold a stretcher as much as we are really trying to make sure that the movement is warmed up so that we have the muscles kind of, yes, stretched out, or really more about that elongated. But more importantly, we want to make sure that the movement and the joints and the hinges are all set and ready. So as we walk through each one of those moves, that very first movement that we start with on this one, I'm going to turn to the side so everybody can see this. What we're looking for is when we step forward here and we keep that back heel down, we get a stretch in this calf. Then, when we pivot at the waist while keeping our chest up, think almost like a RDL. They're going to hinge, they're going to bring that chest down. We gain a stretch in this hamstring. So when I'm in this position, notice my back is not rounded here, so I'm kind of reaching. Again, we don't care if they reach the floor. Getting this here, we're not trying to get that extra flexion out of this. So both this hamstring and this calf. Then they step back up and they switch. So some things that we as coaches get to warming up the movement is it's all about warming up that hip hinge movement. So we have the hip all warmed up. So joint-wise, hip is warming up. Muscle-wise, hamstring, calf. So again, I'm getting everything in that lower body, switching to that one. And again, we just kind of switch through that one. Move number 2, when you have everybody turn and face the lobby, and again, you'll probably be more towards the lobby facing them so they can all see you. We go into this lateral lunge. Again, ideally the planted foot will stay nice and still, so when I step out into that lateral lunge, obviously just go lateral, I'm going to get a stretch in this inner thigh, but really I'm also getting to warm up this movement. I'm starting to warm up this knee, and again, there's still a little bit of hip, because again, I'm kind of getting part of a squat pattern, part of a hinge pattern in what we're moving here, getting a little bit of lean here. And then when I come up and I bring my arms out, if you put your hand here, you'll feel the lats get a little bit of movement in this movement, but I get the shoulder going through its range of motion here again. So I'm reaching, coming out, and then I'm going to the other side on that same thing. Then our cheerleader lunge again, when we step back on this one, they're going to take a little bit bigger of a step back. Again, their heel may not go to the floor, that's okay. They're going to drop that knee a little bit, so almost like they're getting ready to lunge. But the biggest focus then is we want them to push their hips forward, and then as they push their hips forward, they're going to add just a gentle arch of their lower back. I believe there actually is a yoga pose even somewhat like this, but the biggest focus, the focus point of this move is this hip flexor. We want to stretch out that hip flexor. So again, when you're in that hip moving forward, we're trying to elongate everything from right above that hip to right below that hip, getting all the hip flexor, which is actually 4 different muscles in that hip flexor move, and then we're adding the lower back for a little bit of bonus, and we again get a little bit of shoulder by coming up, and ideally we start working into, again, that shoulder range of motion to be able to get people from here to here, and then stand up and do that again on the other side. But the number one focus is on that hip flexor. Again, remember, you guys, coaches, keep remembering that for a lot of our clients who spend a lot of time sitting, they have those tight hip flexors, which impedes their movement on a lot of our lower body movements. And then lastly, obviously we end with that squat to wave. Same thing ideally. We want to keep working on good squats. So again, more important than getting super low is that to keep that head, chest up, and some things that we kind of keep watching for is we want to keep the chest up without adding this excessive arch. So again, core should be in, and you might find that they're not getting super low to start with, and then we're obviously almost like adding those Ys, we have that shoulder moving through its range of motion. So we did the shoulder through this motion, now we're doing the shoulder in this motion, which obviously lets us get a little bit more of the muscle around that shoulder girdle. Putting that all together, so again, they've done their jog plays, done their butt kickers, done their high knees, they've sprinted. I'm like, all right guys, we're gonna slow everything down and take that big step forward, pivot at the waist, try to keep that chest up, guys, just like you're doing an RDL. Should feel that in the hamstring of that front leg, keep that heel on the ground so we can get that calf on the back leg. And again, we'd simply run through that for those 15 seconds or so. Then all right, everybody turn, face the lobby. We're gonna take that step to the side, reach for that toe, hands come up and out, and then to the other side. So again, warming up that quad, warming up those knee and hips, getting to stretch that inner thigh, and starting to get the shoulders warmed up. And again, about that 10, 12 seconds. Then guys, go into that cheerleader lunge. Remember, take that big step back. Your back heel does not have to touch the ground. Drop that knee a little bit, push those hips forward, and then add that gentle stretch of our lower back. Bring it up, and switch other sides. Again, remember guys, the focus point on this one is that hip flexor of the back leg. So really focus on kind of pushing those hips back, and then just a gentle stretch of our lower back. We're not trying to see how far back we can twist. And then lastly guys, give me that good squat to wave. Again, head and chest up. I don't care how low you get right now, just really focus on keeping those knees behind the toes, keeping that head and chest up. Again, 10 to 15 seconds, guys. All right, guys, let's do that all over again. Now that we're a little bit starting to warm up already, we may be able to go a little deeper into our movements, but again, really focus on good, controlled movement, and you just run them through that again. So again, about 10 seconds of each move, maybe just a hair over that. You need to make sure that you are not going longer than 15 seconds, otherwise you'll run late on the program. And then as soon as they get through those squats, bring them right back, and then you end the very last set of squats by having them all do those 10 squat to waves all together, counting them out, 1 through, so you should have that good counting to get that little bit of participation at the very end, once they finish it. And while they're counting them out as coaches, it's the perfect time for us to kind of keep an eye on them, but kind of backpedal back to the music station, so we're ready to mute the music, and like, all right guys, jog in place, and here are your moves. This is kind of the why and how of our new warm-ups.